Gonna hit record before I forget. Are you recording it, Nick?
I got it.
Okay. When we were doing interviews for the Volunteer Appreciation Week, I interviewed one of our volunteers who was celebrating. Is that me? Is there feedback?
Someone on the phone.
Someone on the phone that called in. If you might want to mute yourself. So there we go. Thank you. Anyway, I interviewed a volunteer and forgot to hit record. So I had to email her back and say, hey, do you mind redoing that with me? She was very nice about it. But anyway. So we want to visit about recording. Y'all record with iPhones for us. And it's not because your quality is like you're doing anything wrong. And it certainly is, radio quality. We haven't had any issues with people not being able to understand you, or, the quality's been bad enough that we haven't been able to air. Like, that's not at all where we're coming from. We're just at the point where now that we know we're doing this for another 7, hopefully just 7 months, no more than that, but we don't know. And so we want to get everybody a little bit closer to that warm studio sound that we have at Audio Reader, which the iPhone is just not as equipped to handle with the onboard mic. I don't know what that is. We need a different mic. So we want to talk about options, and Audio Reader does have some funding to purchase some mics for folks. And so, we'll talk through all that and then move to some just observed issues. And then we also want to offer each of you like an individual consultation. Sounds really fancy for what it would be, but Nick and I to meet with each of you individually to talk about what your setup is, what options might work well for you. If there are any issues we've noticed in your recordings, we certainly aren't planning to call anybody out in a group meeting. So so Nick, have I missed anything that we wanted to overview? You want to add your perspective?
No, I think you covered pretty much everything. I guess just want to make sure and thank everyone for all your reading, and wouldn't be able to continue the service without you. So I guess it's all on the back of the news that we're not going to be in the studios again until May at the earliest. But anything can change. But yeah, so that kind of is what spurred this review of where we are. We're also, we'll just share that we've had some volunteers who did not make the initial change to home studios. So there's more people interested in reading, as we all realize. It's going to take a little bit longer. So there's a couple of moving parts here today. So I think, but I'm not sure when we schedule this exactly, but we are kind of in flux. So I want to make that point today. We're looking at different options, but it's also a way to expand our service actually. And we're doing things that we never thought we'd be able to. And then that's kind of we've been doing that for that long, that now we're starting to really look at what we might be able to do going forward. And I know Alison's survey had mentioned about, if you're happy reading at home and you don't want to come back to the studios, that's just something we hadn't really occurred to us, or we haven't factored that kind of thing in to date. So that's kind of our approach, looking at it all together. But everything we're doing great, and thank you all for reading. So we're very happy to be able to keep going, and it's because of you guys. So thank you.
Yeah, and one thing I did want to mention, one of the volunteers who got the survey was like, so does this mean that Audio Reader is trying to figure out if they don't need to reopen the studios? And that is not where we're going. That's not where that question in the survey was leaning towards. We're just curious, how many folks might be interested in staying at home or having the option to record from home or from Audio Reader. And if a lot of people are interested in that, then that is one of those moving parts that makes us consider, well, then how do we, get that everybody's audio up to that place where it sounds more like the Audio Reader studio. So, but once it is safe to do so, we will be back in studio. We don't know what that'll look like or what order will bring everybody back, or we have no re-entry plans yet now that we know it won't be till May, but certainly there will be a re-entry. So I didn't want anybody to think that was part of the plan, or not. I didn't want anybody to think we weren't going to open the studios back up. Yes. Nicholas, are you
Oh,
next?
am I next? So, yeah. So, well, any questions on our thoughts at this point? I mean, it's very early on. This is much more kind of casual, and we'd like your feedback. We kind of, one of the challenges where, you know, everybody has a different setup. So, we were going to suggest just going around the little group, everyone describing where you've come from to date with your approach, how you record, you know, what's working, what isn't working, what you'd like to improve. But if anyone has any questions so far or comments, you're welcome to chirp, whatever works for you. But I don't know, should we go around the room and kind of, if you want to tell us, because everyone's doing something a little bit different, and that's kind of the nature of the beast at the moment. So, and Mary, we invited you here especially because you have done a few different things for us, and Mary Howe, who's on here, has also been a great help in creating instructions. So, Mary, do you want to talk a little bit about what you've been doing since
Yeah.
we're all at home?
So I started off with I've had it here. Where is it? I have a little headset microphone with a little boom mic that I had been using for phone calls. Um, it's Bluetooth with my iPhone. And so that's what I have been using. And I set up a little studio inside my closet um, in order to make it sound better, and use my phone. And I take my laptop in there. So I read off the laptop, but use my mic to talk into the phone. But I've been not very happy with the, um, especially like if I have to pause and then come back in, it does this weird little noise. So I tested out the Shure mic, which is a nice microphone, but it doesn't connect with my Bluetooth headset, and I didn't have a headset, so I kind of gave up on that. And then this week I just switched over to, perhaps I shouldn't mention this because you guys have a better mic than mine, but I have this little, probably it's $22 mic I got off of Amazon, um, that, so that now I can, and I downloaded Audacity. So now I can do it at my desk with my two monitors, which is, yeah, I'm thrilled out of my mind. But I still think that the really the main problem for me with doing it on the iPhone is that little, and I don't know what else to say about it, because probably nobody cares, and it's not that big of a deal. But anyway. But I'm also, because I have written a bunch of instructions, if you have my instructions and you see things on there that either I left off something critical or I haven't made it clear, let me know, because I'll fix them.
Cool. Yeah. So, and I think one of the big challenges with the phone is that you're essentially touching the microphone. You're touching it's all one piece of equipment. So any taps, any clicks, any movement of the phone potentially comes through on the mic itself, and that can vary, depending on where the mic is. There's just so many variables. So we're all just trying to figure out what works best for us. And yeah, so one of the reasons to move to a separate mic that connects to your phone by a cable is that you can, your phone isn't as susceptible to those kind of noises and that kind of thing. So there's one observed issue. Jerry, do you want to go next? And you can tell us what you read as well, but folks might find that interesting. There you go.
I read a 1-hour health program to your good health with a wide variety of reading material that I've gotten, so I just kind of pick and choose. Right now it's been a lot of the COVID And then again, I have Men's Health, Harvard Health letter, Nutrition Action letter. So I've got a wide variety of things that I choose from. I'm reading off my iPhone. I'm in my bedroom, but trying to keep all the doors closed and nobody coming in and out, no fans on or such, because I found that was noisy and I had to start all over again when I listened back to it. I've been trying not to do that. My biggest issue at times has been downloading, and it might just be my bandwidth or such on the computer, but sometimes it takes me a couple tries to get it downloaded. And I would like Mary's information. I don't have that, so that could be helpful for me. But, and probably a mic would be helpful too. If I try and keep it at the same distance from my mouth and holding still, making sure that I'm pausing when I'm changing pages and such, because I do a lot of that, so that you're not hearing the rustling as it's going.
Wait, how do you prop up your phone, or because I'm familiar with your recording, especially. I mean, you sound very close to the mic, to the phone.
I'm keeping it fairly close to my mouth, so I have it on my desk, and I'm kind of leaning over it at about the same distance each time, so that I'm not touching it as much, so hopefully there's not the rustling and such going on. But same thing, you know, when you're pausing it and you start up, you have that little sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm wondering if that is actually part of the voice memo. I was thinking it was my microphone, but it might be just a part of something that voice memo does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and even when we were recording in studios, we had the pause clicking. I mean, that it's hard to get to a place where that is entirely eliminated. You know, setting, like we had those carpet squares in the studios that we had for folks to set things on, and so having something soft underneath, you know, whatever it is that you're clicking would help, maybe. But there's always going to be some, I think, level of recording of that action.
Yeah.
Does the click come from stopping the recording or starting it?
I think it's when you're restarting it back up.
Yeah.
It's sometimes it cuts off too. It cuts off the very, you have to wait for the little, and then you go, oh, then I can start talking, because otherwise it cuts things.
Right.
Yeah. So sometimes it's the nature of the record. It's digital. It's in the recording itself, and it can be also, you know, picked up from an actual tap, the physical action of tapping, or you know, the phone, you know, any space between the phone and wherever the phone is sitting on a table. Yeah, there's it can be anything, but there is something within the technology itself which makes it a little bit more difficult, and yeah, it's not wildly consistent. But Kelly, you want to talk about your setup in your special room? Your
Yeah,
booth?
sure. I have two options for recording. One, as Nick euphemistically referred to as my special room, is actually my bathroom, because it's the smallest room in my house. It has no windows. I live by myself, so I don't have to worry about anybody coming and knocking or anything. And it seems to not have any of the interventions of, you know, the air conditioner or the heater or whatever. So sometimes I record in there. Sometimes I record in a little office at my workplace, mostly because the internet is faster there for me to upload when I'm finished. If I try to upload from home, I can, you know, go have a snack, take a walk, take a nap, and then eventually come back and the upload has finished. If I go to my office, I can upload immediately. So just depending on my level of patience for the day and what else I have going on. Sometimes I go to the office and record. There have been times when I've recorded at home and then just stopped by the office to hi-fi and upload then. So anyway, I like having options just in case, you know. I'm definitely willing to and interested in trying a microphone, because I think that would help. Plus, I'm a gadget kind of person. I like technology. So thank you for the link. I copied it, I opened it, and I'll take a look. Oh, I didn't say what I read. People magazine. And this week is the most exciting issue of the year because it's the sexiest man alive. And, you know, I often wonder how that lands with listeners who are maybe not aware of the sexiness level, since that's kind of a visual thing. I don't know. Maybe I'm excited about it because I can see all the men, and the listeners are like, whatever, this is boring. I don't know. I don't know. But it's always a little departure. It's different from the usual people issues. So it's just kind of fun. And they really, I've noticed over the last couple of years, have tried to redefine sexy from a, you know, very shallow, external, superficial thing to, I noticed this week's issue has a bunch of guys and their pets, dogs and cats, and being a loving caregiver is what makes someone truly appealing. So I'm looking forward to reading that. And I'm very excited to hear all kinds of tips on how to make the recording better. And Mary, I would love to have your tip sheet because I don't think I have that.
I'll send that out to everybody when we're done. One thing you mentioned, Kelly, that I wanted to bring up to everybody is that, you know, most of you are recording your programs in chunks of time, and that can help a lot with that uploading. Just to be clear that it doesn't matter exactly how long those chunks are. Mary pointed out to me the other day that she wasn't sure if there was something about 15 minutes that was important. And so you can feel free to adjust those lengths of file to keep them in manageable chunks, both in case you lose a file and you don't have to reread quite so much, or for uploading. And then I shared in the last email, I think Bill Carswell, who's on the call, was kind enough to share an app that he's been using that helps you add up all those times to make sure that you get to that 56 minutes. So that's a really great resource as well. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew that 15 minutes isn't a rule. It's just a guideline.
Hey, Allison.
Yeah.
This is Christy Alley, and I just wanted to let you know, initially 15 minutes was about 25 megabytes, and that's all my bandwidth would support. But with the updated, it seems like it's an updated Dropbox, and maybe it's my bandwidth is better, but I seem to be able to upload more quickly and bigger chunks of time. So initially, I couldn't get anything over 14.45 seconds, or it would die. So
yeah, that's frustrating. So yeah, that's good to know, and I'm glad it's getting a little easier. And the other tool that I don't know if we've shared with everyone, but it is on Mary's sheet that I will share, is WeTransfer.com is another option that we've given to folks when Dropbox is being especially cranky, which it seems to do to all of you in turn, usually not all on the same day. So I guess that's good, but I don't think it's you. I think sometimes it's just Dropbox. But yeah, if you go to WeTransfer.com, it doesn't require an account or anything. It just requires you to put in your name and email address, and then Nick or I's email. You just have to pick an email to send it to, and it allows you to just like you do on Dropbox, you choose the file from your computer that you want to upload, and it sends that way. But Mary does cover that in her instructions, so you'll have those written out when I share it. Yeah.
thank you.
I had John next on my screen. John, do you want to talk a little bit about your recording? And thanks, Kelly and Jerry, for sharing. Oh, still muted.
Sorry about that. Yeah, sure, I can. I read the Topeka Capital Journal on Breakfast Table Times. And after the last email that came from the two of you, I got a Shure mic. and I use a cable, not Bluetooth. And I think it's better, but what I think it's better in the sense that it's there's less echoey from the room sound. It seems to be a much closer sense of sound when I listen back to it. My challenge early on when we went remote was Dropbox. It was awful. It was just really, I mean, I just about quit. I think this is too much of a hassle. But now it's working fine. I don't know whether you want to switch, Allison, the way this is happening now for sending you stuff, and you can tell me you want me to learn a new system. I'll try to learn it. But I'm quite content with the way it's going now. The clicks, I can barely hear them, but then I have hearing aids to hear anything, so that may not really mean much.
Yeah, no, thank you, John. I think that's working for me, and we certainly don't. We want you to continue to read. So if this way prevents quitting, then I think that, it's working fine. Yeah.
Okay.
The mic itself, I don't know if anybody else is considering getting one. It sounds like Kelly might be. I didn't think it was very expensive, and it was very, very simple to hook up. I mean, you just need two little cables, one from the mic. Well, anyway, it's very, very simple. And the mic itself comes with instructions on how to hook it up. So if you're concerned anybody about that, it's really not a big deal.
So John, did you find, the placement of the phone versus now where you're putting the mic, how did that work for you? Was that an improvement?
Yeah, it is. I elevated my laptop off the desk and put the mic right in the middle underneath it. So the guideline on the instructions that come with a mic say somewhere around, I forgot enough, 6 to 10 or 12 inches. And so I'm closer to the mic than I used to be to the phone by about 6 inches. That may actually be part of the shift in sound that occurs. I get less room pickup. I also discovered, and when I use the mic, that I have a chair squeak that I didn't realize I had. So I have changed chairs. I sit in a quiet chair now.
I have a question for John, if that's all right.
Of course, yeah.
John, did you get the headset to go with the Shure microphone? Did you get that set, or did you just get the microphone?
I got just a microphone, but I have a Bose headset that I use, and it works. It's magnificent. So I actually sound better.
I just wondered what the benefits were. Yeah, I wondered what the benefits were to having the headset on at the same time you're recording.
Oh, I think it helps modulate a little bit what I'm doing in terms of keeping the volume steady. And it also keeps me in a pitch range that's kind of constant. I don't get up in the high range and start squeaking or growling. I mean, it's a monitor of what I'm actually sounding to other people outside my head. And I think that's an easier way to transmit what I'm doing. I feel like I'm paying attention to how I'm sounding a little more when I can hear how I'm sounding.
Thank you.
Great. Yeah, it's good to hear. Okay, thanks, John. Claire, I'll have you next. Do you want to mention how you're recording currently? I know you're kind of in a transition yourself.
Yeah, I feel like I'm slowly coming out of. I would have thought an iPhone would be Stone Age, but I did follow Nick and Allison's recommendation about getting the Audio Technica kit from Amazon, and should have that shortly after the first of the month. And I've always attributed most of my challenges to user error, just because while I try to be cognizant of distance that I hold the phone on a consistent basis, I'm sure that there's always exceptions to that. And I always feel like I should send Nick a fifth of bourbon to accompany editing my recordings, because just as Mary had pointed out, I mean, all the whether they're pops or pauses or what have you, while I don't necessarily hear them as extensively as I probably should, I know they're there just watching the meter. But I think what contributes to my frustration is, since we have the benefit supposedly of going over or re-recording, I think it just makes what would otherwise be a spontaneous delivery, I think it takes a lot away from it. And Nick and Allison, as you know, from my questions to you, not really having a good sense of what we send you as far as a raw recording, how that translates, or what that provides you in the way of an air quality delivery for the listeners. But I guess some things are out of hand. But again, as someone noted earlier, I do plan to subscribe to the Audacity program, and in combination with the new equipment I'm getting, and hopefully that results in a better delivery. So again, thank you, Nick and Allison, for all your patience in putting up with this. And I, by the way, I read the Sunflower Dailies on Wednesday and Friday, and that's the Emporia Gazette, Sunflower, or the Salina Journal, Hutchinson News, and the Manhattan Mercury. So I don't know what kind of information I can share with you that would be helpful, but if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to try to respond.
Okay, thanks, Claire. And so everyone's clear. Basically, Claire, you're going to be moving to a laptop, basically, right? With that 18.
Well, I'm assuming so. Yeah, that's what I'm. And therein lies one of the other challenges. Is I think my laptop is somewhat on its last leg, and I'm almost afraid to add any more software to it. But that's in the works for replacement also. So, but yes, that's all part of what I'm hoping will be ultimately a better delivery.
Yeah.
Well, and Claire, you've always been a very humble reader, but I mean, you have an excellent voice and delivery. And I would certainly say that, I think the Audio Technica will make the sound of your recordings, it will reflect the warmth in your voice much better. And that's really where what we're trying to address, is to get that warm, friend sitting next to you in the room sound that comes so naturally from the studio versus, specifically your user error. I think you'll be pleased with the sound of the Audio Technica. And like Nick and I said, we've been setting up, we've had one Zoom yesterday. We're going to have another one this afternoon with some new users, just to help them get the Audacity set up with the right settings and kind of troubleshoot all of that. So, once you have your microphone, let us know, and we'll set that up and make that hopefully fairly painless. I think you'll like it.
Well, and Nick, I don't know if you've had a chance. I responded to your email just a few minutes before signing on, but if you think it's helpful to sit in on your 3 o'clock call this afternoon, that's great. If you think it's time better spent for you and for me to wait until hardware's in hand, that's fine too. And really, Allison, thank you very much for the vote of confidence. All I'm trying to do is attain that level of mellow tone that John Robertson delivers. So, but thank you all the same.
Very good. Well, and I think, I feel bad, but I'll say I feel grateful, because nobody really signed up to be their own audio engineer. So you're already going above, the equipment that was in Audio Reader in the studios was, as I'd explained to students who had to teach how to troubleshoot, was designed to just get out of the way. That was the goal, was that it was just seamless, and our volunteer readers didn't have to do anything but hit record and read. Now, it was rarely that simple, but I didn't, it was never this complicated. So thank you for running with all this again. Yeah, so you're all leagues ahead, so we appreciate it. And thanks, Claire. Christy, do you want to talk about your many readings? And you're muted right now. Sorry. There you go.
Hi, I'm Christy Alley, and right now I'm reading Home and Family magazines, which encompasses Magnolia Journal, The Housekeeping, Martha Stewart. Really, in with Victoria, probably a few more magazines that I really need. So she's taken back a few of those family magazines. I think you guys are starting another stream with some of those family type magazines. I started reading Reports, which is on Friday, which was my only one that I did when all started. And then Oprah,
Hey, we're having, oh, Christy, I'm sorry to interrupt. We're having trouble hearing you. I don't know if you have your connections weak, or I don't know how to tell that. Nick, do you know? I don't know what the trouble was.
See if I can move closer to the window. I'm actually at work, so
Oh,
is that any better?
Maybe just shutting off your video and just going with audio might be the best plan. Sorry, is that what you said, Allison?
nope, I didn't know that idea.
Okay, so is that better?
Maybe. Keep talking there.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh,
I think
that's much better. Good job.
Okay. Okay. But like I said, I'm reading Home and Family magazines, which is a Saturday publication. I'm reading Consumer Reports, which is a Friday publication. I'm reading Oprah, which is also Saturday. And then I was reading Sunday magazines, which are now regional magazines, which are airing on, instead of Sunday, are airing on Monday. So just switched that over with my last reading just a couple of days ago. I read from my desk and I read on my iPad, and I'm hoping that it sounds okay, but I'm really open to upgrading. I'm just, I can record on my PC if that gets the best quality, or I was thinking about getting the Shure microphone, but I don't know. I'm not sure what the Audacity route is, or whether just going with the recommended Shure microphone would get the quality as high as what you guys wanted. So I know I've got pops. I know I've got the cat snoring and the dog snoring in the background sometimes. I switched chairs because I had a pop in my chair. Hopefully it's okay. I know not being in studio, and I don't go to the bathroom or the closet, so I'm just kind of in the room that I'm in. So any suggestions, I will definitely, make changes. Just whatever, this is really the first opportunity that we've gotten to get together to have a little bit of individual feedback, so that I really appreciate this, and I really appreciate you guys, helping us out as we've been going along, because it's definitely been a learning process. I loved just coming into the studio and closing the door and just being in there with all of the new and exciting information. And I've got the new and exciting information, but it's like, okay, I've only got 15 minutes. I've got to get this finished. Where am I going to stop? Am I in the middle of a sentence? So, timing wise, I think I'm okay. It might be a little choppy, but just any suggestions that you could make, I'm definitely wide open for that.
Awesome. Thank you, Christy. Nick, I wasn't sure if Nick was going to talk or if I was going to get to talk.
I'm trying to do too much here right now with the broadcast right now. But yeah, and one thing I want to point out is, so the Shure mic will work with your iPhone. So the little Venn diagram, Shure mic will work with your iPhone and your laptop, whereas the Audio Technica is only USB to a computer, laptop, or a desktop. So Christy, you could, the Shure I think is the one that will do both, whereas the Audio Technica will only work on a laptop. So if we go with the Shure route for a microphone, you don't have to make your mind up on that just yet. So you could try it with a laptop. You could try it with the iPad if that's what you're currently doing. That would be kind of the smallest leap in terms of what you're used to. But then down the line, if you decide you want to be more, at a desk or where your computer is, that's an option there too. So, and they're both, as John I think mentioned, they're both really good for for the price. They do have that, and just, you know, so it's a tighter pattern, we call it, which is really picks up much less of the room ambience, and they do all those things. The Audio-Technica specifically is an amazingly tight pattern. You can be in quite a reverberant space and it will get you a real close mic. So anyway, just want to make sure we understood what we're talking about. And I will share a link to that Audio-Technica here in the chat, so for anyone who's interested to look that up too. And that one is nice because the bundle has a boom arm and a couple of different options. So anyway, but let's hear from Dee Dee. If you're there, Dee Dee. Are you there? No. Well, we can move ahead. Dee Dee, pipe up if you can join us. We'd like to hear from you about your setup. I think we saw photos as well, which I can share. But Bill, are you there available to talk? Describe your setup. And Bill is in New York. Bill is my uncle. Hi, Uncle Bill. No, we're not getting Bill either. And I don't know, who is this on the phone? Hello? Caller? I'm just calling in on the prize. Sounds like dead air here at the moment. Well, if Dee Dee, Bill, or our mystery caller wants to pipe up at any point, please do.
Can I
Yeah,
just say one little thing?
please.
I do a lot of Zoom calls, and here's what you do if you have trouble being heard or hearing. Lean to the left, lean to the right, shut down, restart, fight, fight, fight. So shutting down and restarting generally gets your audio fixed. I don't know why. Okay, that's my 2 cents.
That's good tip. Not sure about the lean to the left, lean to the right. Just the limbering up move, is it? Okay, well, we kind of have touched on everyone, which is I'm really appreciated. You know, again, we're asking you folks to do so much that you didn't initially sign up for. So you know, this is really useful information for us as we move forward. And I think you hearing from each other is probably better than anything we could share. You guys are on the ground, whereas Alison and I have different parts to play in it. So yeah, you guys on leading the charge. So appreciate hearing from you.
So Nick and Allison,
Go ahead.
Question on a different subject, but I suppose ultimately related. During the summer, there was some talk of Lori arranging for surveying of listeners to get some input and such. Did that happen? And if so, what, if anything, is going to be made available to us to, you know, ideally contribute to, again, better delivery?
Allison,
Yeah. So Lori has, you know, the initial phase was to really improve our contact information for listeners. And so we had volunteers who were calling listeners to update, get email addresses, that kind of thing. And that's kind of as far as we've gotten in the project at this point. Right now, what we're looking towards using, now that we have that additional information, is that we're trying to figure out how to better serve both the listeners in Kansas City and Springfield, where we had the Alpha Point and Springfield studio locations, which we have closed through the pandemic. Alpha Point, we were doing that before the pandemic, closing that studio because we realized that we could better serve them from our Lawrence studio. And then when the Lawrence studio closed, we weren't able to re-expand that programming how we wanted to. So the plan now is to have some Zoom calls actually with our listeners in those areas to try and figure out what publications they'd be most interested in hearing, so that we can maybe add some additional programming that is broadcast directly to those locations. And so that's the next step in us getting some feedback from our listeners. So it'll be more about new programming, not existing programming. But we are hoping that we can start there. And now that Zoom has kind of opened up an accessible world that we didn't have pre-pandemic, you know, our barrier pre-COVID was transportation and getting listeners in the same place to get feedback from them. And that wasn't, we hadn't figured out how to surmount that. But now that we have Zoom and so many people are Zoom enthusiasts and know how to use it, and it's extraordinarily accessible, we're hoping to, in our next phase, take advantage of that to connect more with our listeners and hopefully get some new programming started, and then move from there into just stronger relationships with our listeners outside of the broadcast, to get some more of that feedback I know that you all really cherish. So that's kind of where we're at, but those next steps won't be taken till after the holidays, I'm fairly sure. Like December is kind of a wash. It's just we'll keep things going and moving, and then hopefully in the new year get some of that information.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I have a nitpicky technical question.
great.
So in the 15 minutes of part one and 15 minutes of part two, how do you put those together? Is there any loss? How much time do when I'm at the end of it, I usually leave a little sort of take a breath and then finish it, but I don't always. And is there a specific time gap? It doesn't matter.
No, that's all edited out, or edited together.
Okay.
And just for what feels like the right gap to us based on the
Okay. Good.
gap. So yeah, we put all 4 parts together and clear out between them. So it could be longer. It doesn't really matter. It's going to get deleted if it is longer. Definitely not. Yeah. I mean, I think pretty much everyone has a good sense of that stop and start. Yeah. I mean, and it's back to the old thing with the before you start your recording and take a breath and do all that kind of stuff, which is hard to do consistently, to be so that the first thing we hear is a word rather than a breath. I mean, it's pretty natural. So that is nitpicky getting down to that level, but the gaps that you're talking about there, everything is fine. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Cool.
Deleted.
Yeah, I've never had an issue where there hasn't been enough time so that somebody's words are right on top of each other. And we can also edit in silence. So, if somebody misses that, then, we can make it sound more natural if we need to. So yeah, great job, everybody. You're all doing that right. So, we made a list of things to talk about that we've heard in files, but and I'll read through them, but I really just want to reiterate that the moving to a different mic is really not about your performance or your execution of your readings. It's more about that sound, that warmth, the tone of voice that gets recorded and carried on to our listeners. And so that's really what we're looking for with that Shure mic or the Audio Technica. They're really amazing mics. Like Nick said, they only capture your voice. They're not going to capture the echo in the room, they'll capture the dog barking or my children screaming, but they're not going to capture the ambient sound of the room, which is lovely. You've all heard these things from the studio. Just try and make sure that when you are sitting down to record that you have your magazine or your newspaper, if you're reading from a hard copy, open to the page you're going to start from before you touch record, to reduce that paper shuffling, that sound. Make sure that you're sitting in your squeaky chair just right before you touch record, that you got your pen unclicked or clicked or whatever you want. Just be all settled in and take time to do that, which I know, like, Christy mentioned, some of you are reading a lot and you're kind of reading on the fly. So we appreciate that too. But, you know, just that minute of getting settled, making sure you have everything where it needs to be for the remainder of your recording. And then, you know, figuring out that consistent mic positioning, which you've all talked about, can be tricky, especially if you're holding the microphone or trying to make sure that the pages that you're reading from aren't between you and the microphone. And, you know, so the external mics will help with that if you're able to do that. And I guess, is there anything else you wanted to talk about, Nick, around that?
I don't think so. I mean, I think everybody, well, it was nice that all of these issues kind of came up as we just went around so people are aware of it. And yeah, I mean, squeaky chairs aside, and I think it's all something that we have to deal with now that we're at home. So yeah, keep it up. Yeah, I mean, what I'm most fascinated for, because we don't see the setup, is how everyone's placing their microphone. So I was interested to hear the details there. Oh, there's Bill. Hi, Bill. Oh, you're muted still. And I think, Bill, if we can hear you, didn't you set up?
Okay, I think I'm good now.
There you go. Yeah.
I just moved from my laptop. I had trouble getting in. I had to go through the website, and it blocked it. Go ahead.
Well, just now that you're here, did you create some kind of soundproofing? Is that right? Because
yeah, I guess so. Well, I read the New York Times on Sundays, the arts section, and I'm living in New York City. And so I have a Zoom recorder, and I tried to use, this is a good mic. I tried to use that mic, but it was really picking up too much of the sirens and the general noise of the city. So I built a small enclosure I just used the iPhone. I'm trusting that it's good enough. I've asked Nick this question. I'm trusting it's good enough, but I just built a little enclosure with foam on all sides except the front. And I can use that with a split screen iPad. So that's what I use for my recording. I am pretty close to the mic. I'm within about 3 inches of the mic. So it's kind of like a boom mic. And I think for the most part, there's always that little hum in the background, the hum of the city. But for the most part, I've asked Nick and he said it seems okay. So
yeah.
But if you can get, I hear you talking about the Ars Technica microphone, and if that worked, I would try that perhaps. The one thing I like about this is that I use the microphone in the iPad, so I don't know how you would listen to that separately if you were running it through a laptop or something. So this is great because I can just back up and hear what my correction is and just keep moving without clicking in anything other than the pause button. So
yeah. Well, and Mary, I don't know, is there anything else you want to mention about the Shure mic that because you kind of tested it for us, and the fact that the headphones plug right into it, it's all self-contained, and John obviously is using it now. So, I mean, is there anything we haven't mentioned about moving to that mic, which is our suggestion for iPad and iPhone users?
I don't think so.
Okay. That's good.
Do you still use voice recorder with it, or do you use, it had its own, tell me how that works.
No, I used a voice memo with it.
Okay.
And, yeah.
Because it does have its own software, right? The Shure Motive.
Oh, it does? Oh, I didn't even know that.
I thought it downloaded it automatically when I plugged it in, but then we give it to somebody responsible.
Nick, your volume is still really low. Sorry.
I don't know why it does that. Is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
I didn't click automatically adjust. Oh, you know what? I have a heater going all the time, so there's probably just a low hum. Anyway, sorry. Well, I was just saying that we gave it to you to test to a responsible person to test the Shure mic. But I mean, by all accounts, it seems easy, quick, and able to get up and running. Yeah.
And it's really nice that it works in both for the laptop or the phone.
Yeah. And I guess, you know, with like Bill having spent time, I'd be curious to know, Kelly, how it would adapt, you know, and adding the new mic would adapt. You can buy all of these accessories. It doesn't come, the Shure doesn't come with a boom arm. The AT Audio-Technica bundle does come with a boom arm. And when I say boom arm, oh, I have one here. It looks like, yeah, I just knocked something over. That's, oh, sorry. So that's my one, which is all. There you go. So it comes with one of those that just clamps to the tabletop, but you can get those for any mic, and you just have to make sure that it's the right connector. So again, you know, we're facing a longer period before some of us go back in the studio. I think, yeah, Bill will be the only person who is not likely to come back to Audio Reader Studios in May.
I don't think so.
It's a bit of a once a week commute, but yeah, and you know, if folks are interested to set this up for, and of course for other purposes, we have one volunteer who we sent home at the beginning of the pandemic with equipment. He has been reading books, and he's talking about doing other. He also taught history for at the Osher Institute. So you know, you can, if you're excited to get a setup that's going to be more permanent, we're here to support you in that. And obviously, you know, we have people who've tried all the different options. So I think that for me, that's the most interesting thing, is how, you know, what's going to be comfortable to consistently just step into your little studio as it is and do your reading. So that's the part personally for me that's curious, because everyone's got a different setup. So, well, Alison, where are we?
I mean, if folks don't have other specific questions, we're almost at an hour, so I certainly want to close down by 1:30 to respect everybody's time. So follow up, I'm going to send y'all an email with both Mary's instructions that she has written up so nicely, that include information about WeTransfer if you're having issues with Dropbox. And then if you would, if you're interested in following up with Nick and I for a consultation about your personal sound, or options you're thinking about, or helping like Claire to set up once you get your equipment. Bye, Kelly. Thank you. Just respond to that email, and we'll get a time set up, not this week, but next week after the holiday, to visit with you, or whenever your equipment comes in, whenever works best for you. But we would love to do that. And yeah, does anybody have any last questions?
Would you also include, when you send that out, would you include the information about the timing thing that Bill had?
Yes. Yep.
Great. Thanks, because I couldn't find it. I saw it and it disappeared.
I can do that. I've shared it with many. Thank you, Bill, for tipping us off to that.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Allison and Nick, thank you guys so much for the drive-through appreciation. I mean, I've never done any of the appreciation, participated in any of that, but it was so nice to be able to see everybody and new faces, and thank you very much. It was much appreciated.
Well, thanks for coming. It was fun to see the folks that could make it. It was a nice warm fuzzy for me anyway, to be able to see folks and connect in a safe way. Connect with your eyeballs, not your smiles, and you know. Yeah. So thank you, Christy. I'm glad you enjoyed it. We did too.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
I'm following you. Are you wanting us to contact you for a consultation, or are you going to contact us if you think we need one, or how do you want to set that up?
If you want to, I'm going to send that email out this afternoon with those resources. And then if you're interested in meeting with just Nick and I, just reply. We're not going to rope anybody into anything they don't want to. We're not going to make any of you sit down with us if you don't want to. So yes, if you're interested, reach out and we'll set up a time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye, Mary.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, guys. If you don't have anything else, Nick and I will stay on for a few minutes if anybody wants to pull our ear. I don't think that's a Nick thing, but if you want to chat about anything. Otherwise, we'll have a very happy Thanksgiving, a safe Thanksgiving, and we'll talk to you sometime soon.
Hey, take care.
Everyone.
Bye.
And Claire, before you're gone, actually moved that training